What's up, guys? This is Hallie with Alignment and Light. So, it's been a minute since I've made a YouTube video. I kind of had to, take pause for some personal reasons, but I'm back. And this video is long overdue. And I'm basically going to talk about the late and great Kevin Samuels and just what his videos did for me, did for, I feel like, the black community, just did for dating, modern dating, community in general. And I'm gonna start right at the beginning, when I first got introduced to Mr. Kevin Samuels. May he rest in peace and power, King. So, my boyfriend is actually the one who first introduced me to him, and at first I was I was totally against watching it. I was like, oh no, fuck that. It's funny because I was just basing my opinion off of what I had seen the media and other people say about him. I had never actually seen any of his content, any of the clips, anything. All I saw was that he hated black women, he bashes women, I saw rumors that he was gay, I saw, all these different things in the media that people were talking about regarding him, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna watch him. I refuse. And then it's funny, when he first pulled him up, the first video that was in the queue was the interview he did with Future, and I was like, oh, see, no, he's talking to people like that. I'm like, oh, he's not for me. He's not my tea. I'm not watching it. He was like, chill. So I watched one of the other videos, and honestly, from that moment on, I was hooked. I think that was about 6 or 7 months ago, I think, roughly. Ever since that video, I literally could not stop watching. My roommates, my family, friends, they can tell you. I was only watching him on YouTube. I was obsessed, just going through hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of his content. And at first, the first video, it struck me, aback. I was just like, oh my god, whoa. I felt it was a little intense, maybe a little, the delivery was maybe a little abrasive, but what stuck out to me was that it was the truth. And I'd never heard anyone, any man or woman, say anything that was just so full of truth. So I'm very attracted to and inspired by the truth. So that's what caught me and looped me in and reeled me in. And I think some of the big misconceptions about him, especially that he hates black women, I'm that it couldn't be farther from the truth. He was the only one, or one of the only ones, that was actually trying to help us. And I thought it was great that he brought in statistics, it wasn't just based on feelings, which is a lot of what people are trying to do these days, and it's honestly stupid. And I know that women, as we are feelings-based creatures, but it's still important to use facts and statistics. You can't run your life based on your feelings, or you will amount to nothing, really. Nothing is going to get done if this whole world was just based on feelings and, well, that made me feel bad. It's okay, exercise makes you feel bad, but you still need to do it. It might make you feel bad to hear that, oh, you're, 30, 40 pounds overweight, but you still need to do something about it. And that's the thing that I feel like people were so hung up on, oh, well, you could have said it nicer. You could have said, it's no. Now, black people, nothing gets through to you because some of y'all are hard-headed, like I was, except for someone blatantly telling you, hey, this is the problem, this is what it is. I'm not going to mince my words and be nice and placate, because women, we like to do that. We like to lie to each other, we lie to our friends. Oh, does this dress make me look fat? Of course not, girl, you're a queen, you look great. It's but it's not true. We're just not confrontational, most women. Nothing ever speaks to all women. There's always exceptions to the rule, which is another thing that I like that he pointed out, because women, we like to point out the exceptions of oh, well, Sierra had multiple children, or had a child before, and she still got, this higher level or high value man. But are you Sierra, though? Are you the 1 to 5% of women that will get that outcome. Because I'm like, to get a 10% man, you need to be a 10% woman. But in this culture, especially of like feminism and this gynocentric society that we're in, all people are winners. Every girl's a 10, every girl's a queen, and this and this and that, and like, yes, all this. And it's like, okay, it's great to have confidence, but sometimes and a lot of times it's slipping into delusion. And I think we just need to be more honest with ourselves about where we're at and what men actually want. We strayed so far away from that where we demonize what men want, which is fit, feminine, submissive, cooperative. Like, it's never changed. I mean, men are visual creatures. You can fight against it and say, oh, that's fat shaming, or that's, that's mean. Like, it should be about what's on the inside. And it's like, it's so hypocritical, because those same women that will say that will turn around and be like, well, I'm not dating no broke nigga. I'm not dating no broke nigga. Oh, my nigga needs to be 6 feet tall. He needs to be da-da-da-da-da, and he needs to have this, and he needs to do that, and he needs to want to travel and do all this. I'm like, but why shouldn't you turn back and say like, oh, well, what about what's on the inside? You don't care about his inside and his character and all the things that, like, you're saying, oh, you should care about that when it comes to me, and just overlook the fact that I'm 50 pounds overweight. I'm bigger than a man at my size. I'm, not feminine. I don't want to submit. You should overlook that, because I'm the prize. And it's like, no, like, men are necessary, for creating the next generation. And even if you don't want, to have kids, like, men are the protectors, providers. They provide us with logic. Like, you're not going to get up in the night when you hear something and be like, oh, but you're going to be like, oh, babe, like, go check that out. Like, because that's his role. If he's willing to put his life on the line for you, you can't have, food cooked. You can't have the house cleaned, the kids taken care of. Like, that's too much to ask for. It's honestly just ridiculous, this place that we're getting to. And I'm like, that's why one of the stats he would bring up is 1 in 4 black women will be married in their lifetime. It's unfortunate. We're like unprotected, unprovided for, because we're choosing to leave our situations, because we've been sold this Disney fantasy that you're always supposed to be happy in your relationships, and it's just not realistic. Like, and I'm not sitting here trying to say that I'm some relationship expert. Nothing of the sort. What I am saying is that we can't base what a relationship is supposed to be on based on our happiness, because happiness changes. It's literally just, dopamine and hormones in your head and in your body that are not always going to be there. You're not always going to be happy. But if you have kids and you decided to give the man the highest honor you can give, which is create a child with him, you need to find a way to make it work outside of like essay, or abusive situations. Like, you need to figure out how to make it work for those kids, because it's not about you anymore. Like, and that's the thing you would touch on, is that a lot of modern women are selfish. Like, it's all about what's our happiness, and, well, some other man is gonna, come and swoop me up because I'm getting all this male attention, so I'm sure I could replace my husband. And it's like, we confuse male attention with male, like a man trying to actually commit to you, because that's different. Men will screw a hole in the wall. So don't think because you got a high value man that's willing to fuck you that's your level. That's not. No, I'm like, you will leave your husband and you'll be out here looking crazy, because most men are not trying to take on taking care of another man's children. No people are like signing up to do it. Don't get me wrong. Yes, there are men that will do it, but most men, and especially if you're talking about a certain caliber of man, especially a high value man, not going to do that, because it just doesn't make financial sense for them to do. And then women will turn around and say that's selfish because they don't want to, do that, when it goes against their biology. When and they're not realizing how big the dating pool is for these men either. Like, they have options. So you got to think about, why would he choose you? I think women reverse it, and they're just like, because we're so self-centered and selfish and self-absorbed, and we're so into like what we think that we are, calling ourselves tens and whatnot, and it's like, okay, like, we don't think about, okay, what is the man's, what do the men want? That the men that I want, what do they want? That question almost never comes through women's head, because we've been taught we're the prize, we're the queens, we're everything, we're goddesses, and men are trash, and they should be so lucky, and I am the table, all stupid stuff like that. That I'm like, it's gonna keep you single or with a man that you don't even really respect, because there are men out there who will bow down to this and have cowered to the feminism kind of movement, and being like, yeah, I am trash, I am lucky, oh my god, I can't, just please give me some pussy, please. Like, it's sad. I feel bad for them, honestly, but at one point, hopefully they figure out, and can develop their real like masculinity and be able to move past that. But unfortunately, with the way feminism has pervaded society, it's not looking great. So I just wanted to give a shout out to, Kevin Samuels for going hard for the Black community. And I mean, it's so terrible the way that he passed, the timing of him passing. Like, I just remember that night when I found out, I was like so sad, because I literally was like getting ready to watch his show that night, because he was so consistent. He was on it like almost every day with the live show, with the great questions, great statistics, great cultural examples, great interactions with the callers. Like, yes, okay, sometimes he would cuss at the people, but that was only when they started getting crazy and having an attitude, and he would just match their energy. He had, most of his calls went very well, and when people were nice and receptive, he was the same way. He wasn't just an asshole, but like, people like to watch clips because we're in this microwave generation. Most people are not sitting down and watching the full video. And without the full video, the monologues, the cuts in between, the stuff that he puts on the screen, the information, it's like, you're not getting the whole thing. But people are like, just using it for clickbait and to make him into this monster that hated Black women. And it's just so far from the truth. I think who really hates Black women is the Black women that lied to other Black women, especially older ones, who lied to the younger generation, say, get your degree, get your money, focus on that before you worry about getting a man. And then I just seen like a post on, I think it's called like Black Millionaires or something on an Instagram called that, where a girl was like, damn, like, we really Black women get to like 30 years old, we have this degree, we have this job, no man, and just hella lonely. And then by that point, your options severely dive, because you don't look as good as you did when you were in your 20s. That's just a fact. Like, I get it, Black don't crack, I get it, I understand, but your options still are going to severely dive down, because now you're in it, you have a mindset, you've been doing everything for yourself. Now you're in this independent, I don't need no man mindset. You've been doing stuff your own way. Now you need to come submit to a man and get on his program. Most of the time, you're not really interested in that. Plus, at a certain point, some of you have made a certain amount of money. So now you're like, well, I need a man to make more than me. Problem is, if you make, especially if you make more than 6 figures, if you make that amount and you're looking for a man who also makes more than that amount, men that make that amount are looking for a certain type of woman. And usually, to get and acquire that money, usually, not all, but usually, you become more masculine in trying and getting that, acquiring that money, and especially being that independent person that had to hold it down for everybody. And I'm like, I get that there's, different situations where, of course, people get forced into being into that role, so they're like, well, that's not fair, like, because I needed to do this. And it's like, I'm not saying that it's irreversible. Like, you can learn how to be more feminine, because I feel like I used to be extremely like masculine in a sense, and I was big feminist. I was super all down for that. Like, I thought I really didn't like men. I had to heal my relationship with my father. You know, like, I had to do a lot of work of like undoing all of the programming of hating men and thinking that men are trash, and really realizing the value that men bring. Jordan Peterson, obviously Kevin Samuels, a lot of different men that I've watched have helped get rid of that programming, and really seeing like, damn, like, men do a lot. Like, men hold up society. We couldn't survive without men. And I think a lot of women, you would be surprised, would disagree with that statement that you need men, because men have civilized society to such a degree that we think we don't need men. But if men, Thanos snap, like he would always use an example of, like, off the planet, women would not survive. We don't know how to run the nuclear plants. We don't want to get rid of the sewage and the garbage, and like, we don't want to do those jobs. I mean, it's been a pretty free society in the Western world for a long time, or for a decent amount of time, and we've seen the career paths that women choose. Even just in like college, for example, we can see the majority of majors that women choose, and it's not, most of the time, it's not STEM. It's not the stuff that makes money. So this whole wage gap thing, total myth. I mean, it's been disproven so many times, but like, shout out to Pearl, because she on Just Pearly Things, because she's always bringing in people and educating them, and like, you know, batting that myth down, because it's really grained into women's head that men are oppressing us, and it's like, it's just not true. Like, we need men. Let's come back together. Let's keep our families together, because I mean, another statistic he likes to bring out is 80% of women file for divorces. So we just need to do better, and I just want to thank Kevin Samuels, and I'll see you guys next time.